lastly here, Administrator, if people want to help FEMA, either with their time or donations, what is the best advice for those people?
We ask people to go to nvoad.org, nvoad.org. That's probably the best way that they can figure out how to get involved, and that's the most critical part of disaster response is neighbor helping neighbor. As you guys know, we've said many times, it takes neighbor helping neighbor all the way to the federal government to be able to help communities overcome a disaster like this one that's coming.
Yeah. All right, Administrator Long, really appreciate your time, all the hard work of you and your entire team. I know we'll be talking with you throughout the storm. Jim, like you said, you can hear it in my voice. You can hear it in Administrator Long's voice. You can hear it on social media when people are saying, I woke up and saw the satellite. I saw the look at the radar. There's just a sinking feeling when you see what's happening, and you hear it in all of our voices.
Yeah, and we know it's not going to weaken, dramatically before it comes ashore. So, yes, Steph, I reiterate what I said to you. If you don't feel safe with your crew, come on up. We're going to set you up here. All right, let's talk about storm surge, because that's one of the issues, one of the impacts with this here. Even though we are going to see potentially the landfall near where I am, if you're watching us in Destin this morning, if you're watching us in Fort Walton Beach, heck, all the way over to Dauphin Island, because there's such a shelf in the Eastern Gulf, what's going to happen is that water is coming up and it's spreading west and it's spreading to the east. It has to rise because of the shelf, and it has no place to go inland. So it's going to take the area of least resistance, which is along the coast. So that's why we have storm surge issues and forecasts even back west of Pensacola in the tune of 2 to 4 feet. It's not because we're expecting landfall there, it's because of the shelf and the way that the water has to move to try and come back down again. Because, you got gravity pushing down, but you got the water that's trying to fan out and spread. We're going to maximize that surge now again, now raising that to up to 14 feet. All right? Up to 14 feet in terms of what we got going on through here. Apalachicola, Port St. Joe, where Steph is, maybe even Panama City. You heard Administrator Long, could this go to our west? Yes. If it does so, we're going to take the maximum surge right in through here. Cedar Key, 6 to 9 feet. Nowhere near the center, 6 to 9 feet. And even Clearwater, Florida, 2 to 4 feet. We saw this yesterday at Sanibel. We saw it at Captiva as well. So some of these maps, again, especially up in a place like Apalachicola or St. Mark's, we're going to see a lot of water that get pushed inland, potentially as deep as 20 feet. Again, I leave you with the Gulf of Mexico getting ready to rage as Michael makes its way ashore.
Nothing outlasts Energizer Ultimate Lithium. Hey, you can't do that. Can he do that?
Yeah, he's good.
Energizer Ultimate Lithium. It's the #1 longest lasting battery.
I'm missing out on our family outings because I can't find a bladder leakage product that fits. Everything was too loose. But Depend Fit Flex feels tailored to me.
With a range of sizes for all body types, Depend Fit Flex underwear is guaranteed to be your best fit.
Incomparable design makes it beautiful. State-of-the-art technology makes it brilliant. The Lexus NX. Experience the crossover in its most visionary form. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Smile, Dad.
I take medication for high blood pressure and cholesterol, but they may not be enough to protect my heart.
Adding Bayer aspirin can further reduce the risk of another heart attack.
Because my second chance matters.
Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
At Firehouse Subs are hot, hearty, and extraordinary. Every sub helps provide life-saving equipment for first responders. Nice, Jaws of life, Lisa. So more people eating at Firehouse Subs means more life-saving equipment donated to first responders. If you're gonna have a sub, have one that makes a difference. How's that taste, Jim? Try the new Firehouse Pub Steak. Savory steak with crispy onions and our rich beer cheese sauce. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives.
Our craftsmen begin each day perfectly seasoning our Hillshire Farm smoked sausage. So by simply adding the right ingredients, you can end each day crafting a perfectly delicious dinner.
Your digestive system has billions of bacteria, but life can throw them off balance. Realign yourself with Align Probiotic. And try new Align gummies with prebiotics and probiotics to help support digestive health.
Life happens everywhere. Like it never even happened, only happens here. The cleanup and restoration specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com.
This is 30 calories. This is 30 calories. This is not going to cut it. This will. V8. The V is
at Encore Resort at Reunion, Orlando. Yeah, you'll have a microwave. It comes with the kitchen. You could sleep on the couch, but with up to 13 bedrooms, why would you? You'll have a private pool, in-home private chefs, and private bartenders available, bars and restaurants on site, and a whole lot more. With 3 to 13 bedrooms at a price lower than a hotel room. Don't get a room, get a home. Call Encore Resort now.
Important message for people with IVC filters. Patients that have had IVC filters implanted to prevent blood clots from reaching their heart or lungs may be in serious danger. The FDA warns that pieces of the filter can break off in your vein, tearing your vessels, lungs, or heart, causing serious injury or death. Don't wait for this to happen to you. Call the Guardian Legal Network to speak with an experienced lawyer. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
Call 800-519-4459.
Come before your next payment is due.
Every season, every storm, every time you watch, trust in the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 79 degrees with showers. Today, thunderstorms, high 90, chance of rain 80%. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 78, winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon, high 90, chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
And welcome back to our continuing coverage of a very dangerous Hurricane Michael. Again, getting ready to make landfall early this afternoon in Panama City, very close to us anyway, potentially. And look at this. This is a shot of the hurricane flags blowing. Watch the waves roll under the pier. They're almost to the top of the decking in the pier. So we got big waves coming in here. If you've ever been to this beautiful part of our country, the North Gulf of Mexico here, especially the Emerald Coast, the water is beautiful. It's aquamarine, the white sand beaches. It's a beautiful place, and it is nothing like that today. And some of these areas are really going to take a big hit with this. We've had all since yesterday a developing hurricane that's intensified and not stopped. All right, that's what Michael is. It's got a pressure lower than anything we've ever seen make landfall in the United States. So Hazel, 54, 938 millibars. This one's 933 right now. All right, it's got a winds of 145 miles per hour. So think about Harvey. If you want to think about winds at 145 miles coming in Cat 4, Harvey was that same kind of system that came into the central coast of Texas. All right, guys, let's talk about this. We are 83 miles right now as the crow flies from Panama City. What we have not seen on the latest advisory is a northeast movement at all. So this is still coming pretty much right in the center point of where the cone is from the hurricane center. So, like I said, like I said yesterday, we're going to be within 30 miles of landfall point, if not right underneath it. So that puts Stephanie in Port St. Joe and Apalachicola in the right front quadrant. And Mexico Beach and Port St. Joe, given the wind that we have here, could be into that 145 mile per hour wind. All right? So here we go. 50 bus mile an hour winds in Panama City through tonight. So within the middle of those 50 mile an hour winds, we're almost there now, as a matter of fact. This is what's going to happen. Look at this. Boom. Here come the 100 plus mile an hour winds. And that's where the destruction starts. So, at 145 miles an hour, and you think about that kind of a wind speed, you're talking about an EF3 tornado. And that's what we had essentially move its way through Southwest Florida back in Charley in 2004. That's what moved into Texas with Harvey. So an incredible storm. All right, I want to bring in, we've got NHC Director Ken Graham on the phone right now. We want to talk to, actually, no, he's with us live, I think. Let's talk to him a little bit about what he's seeing. Ken, first of all, obviously we got a monster on our hands. Just like the rest of us in the meteorological community, there's a pit in your stomach, I know, this morning. What is your biggest concern at this point? In addition, certainly we know how bad it's going to be, but at this point, what can we do? Who can we help at this point? Who can we help?
Yeah, it's interesting, Jim, that you used the pit in the stomach analogy, because we had that same conversation this morning. We all got in and we're here most of the night having the pit in our stomachs too. Very, very dangerous. And when you go back to the vaults of history, back to 1851 here, you can't find another Cat 4 hitting the panhandle like this. So this is an incredibly dangerous situation. So very worried about the wind. I mean, you look at this structure, just absolutely perfectly formed. These rain bands coming in, already producing that wind. But we've got to get the word out that, you got catastrophic winds associated with the center crossing here. But look how large this is, 185 miles away from the center. So we got to think that this is a swath, damaging winds, power outages out for weeks. And you talk about the trees and structures, roofs coming off houses. We're worried about the winds. We're worried about the storm surge. Every facet of this storm we're very worried about. 145 miles an hour is just an incredibly strong hurricane.
All right, so if we don't feel that this is going to weaken as it approaches the coastline, is there a chance that you could extend the hurricane warnings across all of Georgia?
Yeah, we'll have to look at that real close. We've really been trying to examine that through the day because, yeah, what a great point, Jim, because, look, we're still a hurricane deep into Georgia, and then with time getting to the Carolinas, still a tropical storm. So you take that rain, you take 6 to 10 inches of rain, some places getting 12. You're going to saturate the soil real quick. That's a lot of trees down, and we got to get the word out that it's not just this. We got devastation, of course, on the coast, but think about this. If you're in Georgia and you're in the Carolinas over the next couple days, you're still going to see some of those winds, the heavy rain. You're still in danger from those trees. And the other conversation, Jim, that we have to start having, you have the direct fatalities that could occur. We got to keep people safe with this, but then after the fact, you get through the storm and you got trees down and power outages for weeks, and you got to keep safe with the generators outside, right? It's not the time to look at the owner's manual and figure out how to use a chainsaw. You got to stay away from those power lines. We got to talk about before, we got to talk about during, and we got to have a big conversation about afterwards as well.
And we saw that with Florence, Ken. I wanted to ask you, speaking of Florence, the areas that are still so soaked in South Carolina and North Carolina, we know that the winds are going to be less certainly than they will be in Georgia, but will it take as much wind, given the fact that those soil conditions are so wet, to knock down trees? Could we have just as much tree damage because of the soil conditions there?
Yeah, it is, and it's a good point that they're making, Jim, because if you look at it, we do expect potentially, some of these areas getting 4 to 6 inches of rain, and as we already said, you're still going to have tropical storm force winds in some of those areas. So yes, we have to be prepared for saturated soils. We have to be prepared, talking about those trees coming down. So that is a big concern as well inland.
All right, Ken Graham, I appreciate it, Director of the Hurricane Center. A big day for you and your team, and I know you guys are doing the best you can to get the message out to everybody in harm's way. Again, guys, there's no way to put a silver lining on this because it is going to be a Category 4 hurricane, hopefully not even stronger than that, coming ashore this afternoon in the Florida Panhandle. A historic storm.
Domino's delivery drivers are experts at handling bad roads. But those roads shouldn't ruin your pizza when you carry out. So we're doing something about them, starting with this one. If your drive home is rough on pizza, tell us at pavingforpizza.com so we can fix roads across the country. Then carry out large 3-topping pizzas for $7.99 each.
If you've ever needed more capacity, more features, and more for your hard-earned dollar, the time has never been more right. Get guaranteed lowest prices on top brands like the Samsung laundry pair, now just $6.48 each. The Home Depot, more saving, more doing.
Who knew?
Yeah. So you're with the UPS store?
Yes.
In fact, we printed these right here.
Oh, I thought you guys just did shipping.
No, we do printing, packing, faxing, notarizing, shredding, mailboxing, copying, taping, binding, consulting, designing, returning, storing, creating. Oh, and of course, shipping.
So you're into shipping?
We also do printing, packing, faxing.
Come into the UPS store today for everything your small business needs. And of course, shipping.
Do these moves look familiar? Then you might have a condition called dry mouth. Biotene is clinically proven to soothe and moisturize a dry mouth, plus it freshens breath. Biotene, immediate and long-lasting dry mouth symptom relief.
It was here. I couldn't catch my breath.
It was the last song of the night. Felt like my heart was skipping beats.
They said I had AFib.
What's AFib?
I knew that meant I was at a greater risk of stroke.
I needed answers
My doctor and I chose Xarelto.
to help keep you protected from a stroke.
Once daily Xarelto, a latest generation blood thinner, significantly lowers the risk of stroke in people with AFib not caused by a heart valve problem. Warfarin interferes with at least 6 of your body's natural blood clotting factors. Xarelto is selective, targeting just one critical factor. For AFib patients well managed on warfarin, there is limited information on how Xarelto compares in reducing the risk of stroke. Don't stop taking Xarelto without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. Xarelto can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. It may increase your risk of bleeding if you take certain medicines. Get help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising. Do not take Xarelto if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. Before starting, tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures and any kidney or liver problems.
Learn all you can
to help protect yourself from a stroke.
Talk to your doctor about Xarelto.
Okay, everyone, our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Great tasting Ensure with 9 grams of protein and 26 vitamins and minerals. Ensure, now up to 30 grams of protein for strength and energy.
We are tracking Michael, which could be a very devastating storm. In fact, using words like catastrophic, life-threatening. These are words out of the National Hurricane Center, and it's likely that we will see devastation across the Florida Panhandle. It's a Category 4. Winds have been ramped up now to 145 miles per hour. So this is a Category 4, strengthening, unfortunately, as it approaches the Florida Panhandle. Pressure has been dropping. Hurricane hunters have been making passes through the storm, and they have determined a strengthening storm, unfortunately. All right, welcome back as we continue to track Michael around the clock here on the Weather Channel. We are monitoring cameras all over from the Panhandle to the Big Bend area. There's a live look at Cedar Key. You can certainly see the overcast conditions, but look at the left side of your screen. Look at the wave action coming up and over onto the roadway there, Indian Pass. This is where we're also starting to deal with those gustier winds, and this is just the beginning. The storm surge is already coming up as well. So let's talk about your forecast and what we can expect with this storm. And unfortunately, as I mentioned, the pressure goes down, winds go up. So we're still talking about a dangerous threat, Category 4, headed for the Florida Panhandle, making landfall today. So we do not have much time. We need to be sheltering pretty much now. Landfall expected later on this afternoon, and that heavy rain could also lead to flash flooding, and that's along with the storm surge that we are expecting to be quite high along the coastline. So here's a look at the visible satellite. This is new this morning because we can only see this as we have daylight. So the sun is coming up and we're getting a better look at the structure. The eye still very well intact. And unfortunately, it's a big storm. Those hurricane force winds extend quite a bit out, but the Category 4 winds are a little bit closer in with that eye wall right around the center of the storm. So right now it is still moving toward the north. We're still waiting for that trough to the west to kind of pick it up and move it eastward eastward. Right now, we are seeing the winds increasing across the bridges here. Apalachicola gusting to 46 miles per hour. Panama City, 25-mile-per-hour winds, and Pensacola gusting at 22. And we're seeing some lightning still within the eye wall of this hurricane. So it's a very dangerous storm headed for the coastline. There's going to be a tornado threat with this as well. We're watching out for that. We're watching cells already beginning to develop and move northward, and a tornado watch is in effect for this part of the Florida Panhandle. So as we go forward in time, we are expecting this landfall again sometime around lunchtime or a little bit after that, moving rapidly. And that's the good news. It is moving quickly in terms of the heavy rainfall, but the wind is going to hold together pretty well. It could still be a hurricane as it makes its pass through Georgia, and even tropical storm conditions are likely for the Carolinas as well. All right, let's head back out to Jim now in Panama City Beach.
Boy, I'm going to be honest with you, Kelly. Watching you show that visible, that's not good. I mean, that's about as good looking as they can get, sadly, and meteorologically speaking. You can see what that wind is doing to the Gulf of Mexico. This beautiful Emerald Coast here is just a mess out here right now this morning as a result of this wave action. It's already come up to the dunes. And it's going to get higher. You know, we're talking about 6 to 9 feet of storm surge here, possibly more if it goes to our west a little bit and jogs to our west. So let's get into this, guys. A lot to talk about here. Hopefully everybody that's out of harm's way is. We've had an emergency alert already this morning in Bay County telling everyone to shelter in place. The only exception I would make to that rule is if you know exactly where you're going and it's a short distance and you can get there without putting somebody else in harm's way. That is the only exception to that rule at this point. All right, again, now starting to see that massive eye and also the water rise. Look at Apalachicola. That 4.3 is very close to number 5 on the all-time list. On the all-time list of storm surges in Apalachicola. Cedar Key, not that high yet. I think winds are a little bit too offshore there. When the storm comes ashore, you will actually maximize your storm surge when the storm comes ashore and the winds come around from the southwest. We're getting up between 2 and 3 feet now here in Panama City. And because of the way, even though winds are offshore here, we're pushing water on top of the shelf, right? It can only go so far inland. So it's going to take the path of least resistance, which is to spread out to the west and the east. So that's why you see these storm surge forecasts, even in 6 to 9 feet, all the way over and to the west of Panama City. So that's why we're getting a little fanning out of that storm surge. It's a dangerous storm, guys. The storm surge, again, is going to come up pretty quickly here as we landfall this afternoon. And then, of course, at that time that it's happening, we've also got wind issues. So imagine a situation somewhere between Panama City, possibly down to Port St. Joe, Mexico Beach, especially with these homes that are very vulnerable right on the beach, where if they're not up to code, we potentially lose the roofs in some of these areas, which undermines the structure, and then you have the waves beating them up. It boggles the mind to think about the potential devastation here. We have a pressure of 933 millibars. That could be the lowest pressure ever recorded with a landfalling hurricane in the month of October. We've never had a Category 4 in the Panhandle of any month, ever. And we will have today. We will have today. St. George Island, another beautiful place. Cape San Blas, beautiful place. These are areas that are going to suffer from Michael and suffer extensively today. We'll be right back.
Stop fearing your alarm clock with new ZzzQuil Pure Z's, a drug-free blend of botanicals with melatonin that supports your natural sleep cycle, so you can seize the morning. New ZzzQuil Pure Z's.
Hi, I just wanted to tell you that Chevy won a J.D. Power Dependability Award for its midsize car, the Chevy Malibu. I forgot, Chevy also won a J.D. Power Dependability Award for its light-duty truck, the Chevy Silverado. Oh, and since the Chevy Equinox and Traverse also won, Chevy is the only brand to earn the J.D. Power Dependability Award across cars, trucks, and SUVs 3 years in a row. Third time's a charm.
A once-in-500-year storm should happen every 500 years, right? Fact is, there have been 26 in the last decade. Allstate is adapting with drones to assess home damage sooner. And if a flying object damages your car, you can snap a photo and get your claim processed in hours, not days. Plus, Allstate can pay your claim in minutes. Now that you know the truth, are you in good hands?
If you have psoriasis, little things can be a big deal. That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not a cream. It's a pill that treats moderate to severe plaque psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clear skin is achievable. Don't use if you're allergic to Otezla. It may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Otezla is associated with an increased risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts, or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur. Tell your doctor about your medicines and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Otezla, show more of you.
If you have recurring constipation and belly pain, talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Yes. Linzess treats adults with IBS with constipation or chronic constipation. Linzess can help relieve your belly pain and lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements. See if you're eligible to get 90 days for as little as $30. Do not give Linzess to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. So say yes to help for recurring constipation. Yes to help for belly pain. Talk to your doctor and say yes, Linzess.
Are we there yet?
You don't always use your smartphone for directions.
Okay, guys, out there.
Or to laugh out loud.
They're in the middle. Yeah.
But when it matters most, you count on TracFone to keep you connected for less. Our smartphone plan gives you talk, text, and data with unlimited carryover starting at $15 a month. No contract. All with nationwide 4G LTE coverage. Get top smartphones or bring your own phone. TracFone for moments that matter.
We are tracking Michael, a dangerous Category 4 hurricane, and it could spin up tornadoes as it tears inland later on today, even before the landfall, which is likely to happen this afternoon. We've got Torcon values of 4 for North Florida, southern Georgia. That means a 40% chance of seeing tornadoes. Even over towards Charleston, South Carolina, we've got a tropical storm warning in effect here as well, as we are expecting this storm to pretty much hold together because it's moving so quickly. So the wind will be a huge deal with, of course, Michael, and it's going to be making a landfall somewhere along the Florida Panhandle and to the right of the center. That's where you have the high danger in terms of tornadoes that could spin up very quickly.